Okay, as I was sitting here thinking about how the Lord is our defender, I think about a lot of different things, but definitely with my immune system and all the different health things that I've had, and just how our body works. And so these are a few things that I'm like, man, it's just been blowing my mind. And I'm just gonna like not even skim the surface on how God made our bodies and just natural defenders, just the natural defenders, meaning as opposed to spiritual, but the natural defenders. So cray. So our body has acquired defenders, and then it has innate or immediate defenders. The acquired takes days or weeks, and the innate is immediate. So immediate would be like a physical barrier such as skin, mucous membrane, saliva, things like that. Okay. So even to break that down, there's a few of the immediate, the innate ones that I'm like, Lord, these are things that I felt were gross in our bodies. And you wonder, why do we have these things? And it's like, God is like, I have a purpose for every single thing. Okay. So you have mucus. Mucus is the stickiness, of course, but it functions like a trap. So I think some of us kind of knew that, like, okay, it can trap certain bacteria and different things from getting in our bodies. The same with hair, like the hair in our nose and our ears. So, okay, some people knew that. A lot of people probably knew that. Urine flushes toxins out of the body. Okay, we know that, right? To a degree, like, okay, urine, it does that. It's part of our excretory system. Vomiting. Vomiting expels microbes that you don't need in your body. So our body is immediately reacting to something that it feels is foreign, right? But then you have the acidic vaginal. This is this is meant to prevent growth of certain bacteria secretions. And I'm like, oh, that's why. Okay. Like that was one for me that I was just like, hmm. Okay. But like, saliva, mucus, vomit, like I didn't necessarily know what they meant or that if they were good, right? So that's the innate or immediate physical barriers in terms of defense, our bodies, and like with our skin, like it's kind of like clearly our skin is our outer barrier that we can see. So there's certain things that can't get past the skin. And then you got the mucus. And then so it kind of like goes, continually on, right? So I was like, oh, okay, yo, that's so dope. And they would, and your innate response or defenses, there's first line defenders and there's second line defenders. All right. So your first line defenders were the ones that I just named: the mucus, the skin, the urine, all that, right? The second line defenders are some of these: antimicrobial proteins, and they retard the growth of microbes. Okay. Now, if for some reason they're not effective, okay, these antimicrobial proteins, you have natural killer cells. They call them NK. Stop NK. And they attack the infectious cells if the antimicrobial proteins are not really effective and not doing their job. And they kill them, basically, when they attack them. And then you have inflammation. Now, I deal with this a lot, so this is really big for me because I don't want to go into all that. But basically, inflammation is another line of defense, and it's a reaction to damaged cells. And I was like, oh man. And so I've just been reading about like what inflammation does and what it means. I have it in my stomach right now. I've had it in my uterus. I mean, and we've all had it in different ways. But I won't go into that in this video though. So, I just like, man, God, like, it's just amazing. God is just amazing. And so then I'll talk about the acquired defense. And this defense remembers the invading pathogen. So it has like that memory of, okay, this infection or this bacteria has been here before. And then it produces lymphocytes, T and B cells, okay? Now, in response to antigens, the immune system must trigger a response. One of the responses is fever. Okay, and I won't go into all the ways that fever is a response, but I will talk about how the lymphocytes, the T and B cells, they act as security guards, destroying the invading pathogens by causing them to rupture, well, that's mainly the T cells, or releasing substances that kill their cells. And the B cells are the ones that secrete the antibodies that further destroy the foreign substances. Now, this is just, it's so much more, okay? I'm just thinking about the acquired and the innate parts of the defenders of our bodies and our immune system. Just with that alone, and I'm like, God being our defender, yo, like, wow. Like, just how he has first line of defense and go through these different things. Okay, that makes it through. Then here's your next line of defense. And that's just all our body. And I didn't even go into all the different cells types and what they do, because I mean, that just would have been a lot. I just was really more so, I'm wowed at just the natural way God has allowed our bodies to defend itself. And then I think about when he says that he's our defender, and all the different cell and cell memory and the skin and the secretions and the inflammation and fevers and things that we see as bad symptoms. It's just a response to something not being right in our body, right? It's as a response, and it can be really good. It may not feel good, or anything like that. Inflammation does not feel good. It brings about pain and other things, right? Fever is when, the temperature in our body is not what it usually is, and it can spike up. So our body is like, danger, Will Robinson, But I'm just like, man, God, like, you naturally have done that within our bodies. How much more for you to plan that out in my body, in all of our bodies, than when you say that you're our defender. You're the God of angels' armies. The Lord of hosts is your name. How, who can stand against me? And just every detail within our body from a cellular, molecular level has been planned out to heal itself or to defend from foreign things that could harm it. And then for the Lord to say that he's our protector, he's our defender, he's our stronghold, he's our strength. I'm just like, to the molecular level, that's true, right? So he made us. So it's not like our bodies is doing it by itself. But to the molecular level of our very being, God is our defender. So how much more in this broader world? Like, I'm just like, wow. To the very details that we feel like God is not in. Oh, I'm just wild. That's all.